Hi there, this is Dilker, and this video is all about using an overhand knot in your jewelry making, and it is a companion video to the book that Gail DeLuca and I have written called Czech Glass Inspirations. So I'm using nothing but Czech glass, Tex 210 Eslon, pair of tweezers. That's really all you need for this. Now, there are all kinds of fancy knotting tools out there. I do occasionally use them, but I find that this is my default go-to because it just works so well. So the first thing you need to do is tie an overhand knot in the end of your Eslon. You'll pull your Eslon maybe a third again as long as you want your final piece. Now, what I'll do, generally speaking, if this were a real project, I might leave a 6 or 8 inch tail on here so that I could figure out what it is I want to do with my findings. But that's a different tutorial. So I have a knot to start with. The first thing I want to show you is purl knotting, and purl knotting is doing a knot in between each bead. And the reason you do that is because it's called purl knotting because pearls were soft. And by putting that knot in between each pearl, it meant that the pearl didn't rest against the next one, and it cut down on the wear and tear of the pearl. We do it as a design effect, if you will, and it can be very, very useful. It also impacts the way it drapes. So I've got my stopper knot to start with, and all I do is pick up a Czech glass bead, and if I can find that hole, I'm just going to slide that bead on right down to the knot. Overhand knot, everybody knows an overhand knot, real simple to do. Now the way I get that knot to sit against the bead is I take the tweezers, I reach through the hole of the knot, and I put the tweezer right down against the bead and pull that knot down there. Just take my thumb and snug it right up. And you will get a perfect knot next to your bead every single time. So just slide it down next to the knot, tie an overhand knot, take your tweezer and reach through the loop of the knot, grab the cord right next to the bead, pull the knot tight, use your thumb to just snug down against that. And that's all there is to putting a wonderfully tight knot next to your beads. Now, there's another technique, or it's actually the exact same technique, but it gives you a different look, which is if you allow some space in between your beads. So what I've done here is I've started and I'm using an assortment of 3 different beads. And I'm going to ask Gail to hit pause on the camera.
Second section.
Okay, so we're back again, and the reason I asked Gail to put the camera on hold was because I needed to go get something to measure, to make sure that I'm getting an equal distance. In this particular one, I want equal. You can have unequal if you want. So here comes a beaded segment. Now this time I'm using 3 beads. I've got a 3 millimeter, a table cut, and a 3 millimeter. So it doesn't have to be just a single bead that you're knotting. Technique's exactly the same. Make your knot, reach through the loop, grab it down next to the bead, and just pull that tight. Now to make this space, there are a bunch of tools out there that you can use. I have found that a Kumihimo board is like my favorite thing on here, because what I'm going to do is just put the cord in one of the notches on the disc. I'm going to pull that up tight against the bottom of the board, and then I'm just going to make my knot right down here. So here goes my knot. I'm going to reach through the loop. I'm going to put my tweezers down against the top of the board, and I'm going to pull that tight. And I now have the same space here that I have here, that I have here, and that I have here. And in this one, I'm just using some drop beads as my next element. But it's exactly the same thing. Just put your beads on, put that knot right down next to the beads and make it as long as you want and as varied as you would like. So let me just see if I can find the hole in. These drops can be a little bit hard to find the hole on. So there's one. The thing that's fun about using these drops is that, of course, they're going to sit at an angle to one another when you tighten them up. So I automatically get this cool little wing thing happening. And again, just tie your knot, reach through with your tweezers, go down next to the top of those two beads. Let me just get that out there a little bit. Top of the two beads, and pull it tight, and just keep repeating as much as necessary. So I hope you have fun with this. This is a great technique, and it really, really showcases these beads. Thanks for watching.